Because can you increase the size of the screen because it's small screen visible.
No, it's small, or I can increase.
I think still it has to be increased because when we see the recorded session, it will be like not so clearly visible, because
Okay. Mm, increase the size. No, clear. Fine, guys.
Yeah, it looks okay.
Okay, so everyone, please open your Postman and the start your server, which I have. We already discussed yesterday how you can start your server. Okay, so I'm opening my command prompt and let me take the command to start my server. So what command I have provided you? So where it is, yeah, here you can see. So do not install the server. If you have already installed, then please start your server only. Okay, let me close all the things, the unnecessary things, and let me again open the CMD. Yeah, I have started the recording. So you can see here, yesterday we have the dv.json file. In the dv.json file, we have replaced the dummy dv.json file with the real-time project data, right? So you can see it here. So guys, when you look into this URL, what this URL is say? If you look into this resource and the home, what it exactly say?
there are two resources like employees and income table, employees table and the income table.
There we have the base URL. The base URL is http localhost 3000, right? And we have the two resource inside that server. We have employee resource and the income resource. So inside the employee resource, all the income related information will store. Okay, and the income, inside the income, all the income related information will store inside the income. Okay, similarly we have the multiple resource also, like if you want to store a cert mortgage and real estate data, you can. Okay, but I will explain you later on. First we will try to discuss these two resource, employee and income. If you understand couple of resource, right, how the basic flows, how the concept is, then you feel very much confident when you start learning or exploring some other resource. Okay, so let me we have please start your server and the file yesterday I have provided. Override, if you have not override that file, then please override with that file. Yesterday I have provided you JSON data file. I think here you can see JSON object file, right? Download this file, copy all data and go to dv.json file. So where you will get the dv.json file, in when you open the command prompt, you will see the default path, C user admin. In my case I am getting C user admin. In your case you will get some other path, right? So go to that particular location, C users admin, C users admin. When you go to that particular path, you will see dv file, right? Click on that file and replace the data. Okay, now Now, let's discuss one by one. After that, we'll move to the requirement.
Can you repeat this 1 second, Vikesha? Where you took that link? Sorry.
When you open the command prompt, you will see the default path in the command prompt, right? Correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So go to that particular path, see user admin, right? which command you have used, means which directory you have used during the installation, that directory you have to go actually. Okay, I believe everyone has used C user admin. In your case, you have something different. Okay, so
Yeah.
you can go to that particular position. So I am going to that position on, you can see C users admin. You will see dv file here. You can see dv file, JSON file, dv.json file. So open that file into the notepad or notepad plus plus or in the Visual Code Studio. Okay, you will get the file as a, you know, default data like profile, comments and the post. Right, so download the JSON object file which I have provided you and copy the whole object inside this file and replace this thing with here. Whatever the data in the dv.file, remove the earlier data and paste the new data here and control save. Clear? Clear, sir? Okay, now we'll move to the next. Guys who has not done the payment, please make the payment. Okay, I have taken multiple classes, right, but still some of the student has not payment yet, so please make the payment. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, so where I was, yeah, let me clear all the things. Clear all tab, do not save, do not save. Okay, I will open the new request and guys tell me uh, to get the data, what method I have to use? Get method, agree, right? So I will use the get method to fetch the income or employee data, right? So what is the URL for that? This is the URL. So I will copy this URL, guys, you can mute. Yeah, copy this URL and paste it here. Oh, it not get copied. Let me again copy. Copy. Again, go to here. Paste it here. Right. So I'm trying to fetch the employees. All the employees which is created inside this server and inside this particular resource. Okay, so for that you have to use the get method. So get method is basically to fetch the data, to download the data, to access the data, right? For that purpose we are using the get method. Okay, so when you click on send, in the get method we don't require the body generally. Okay, because we are passing, we are, you know, fetching the data. We are not trying to create any data in the server. Okay, so
Because
you can see it here. Yes sir, go ahead.
one small doubt. This file you told us to copy and paste it and save, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Once I save this, it is asking me to, the same file is there. Can I replace it? I said yes, but later it is asking me the permission is not there. So what I
Can
have
you
to?
share your screen?
Yeah.
So guys, I'm guiding Srinidhi, so please watch carefully so that you can do at your end also. Okay, so this is your file. Can you open your command prompt, CMD? Open your CMD.
This
A
is
new
my.
CMD, new CMD. Okay, this is the path. C
Yeah.
user FS 512. Okay, go to that particular path. Go to that particular path.
This one on system 32.
It's showing C users, I think. Yeah. Is the same path?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. 512 is my system number actually, I think.
Okay, fine. So this is your dv dot. You have not manually created, right?
No, I am not created manually.
Okay, open this file.
Yeah, I have opened this in Notepad. Okay, and I copied this one.
Okay, you have copied.
Yeah, save here. Should I rename that and we can
cancel this thing, sir. Cancel this thing.
Okay.
Cancel. Okay, go up. Can you go up? Yeah, in this notepad, dv.json, which you have opened. Yeah, go up. Okay, you have copy pasted the whole object. Control S. Control S. Save this thing. Control S.
Control S. Okay.
Okay, click on save. Do you want to replace? Yes. Okay, do you don't have the permission, the honor of the, so please run this thing as an administrator actually.
I have run this in administration only, starting.
Okay, close this window, sir. Go to the C directory, do not save.
Okay.
Go to the C directory. And C directory, C users, where is go inside that file, C users.
Yes.
And yeah, in this folder, yes, and find the dv.json file here. Go down. Here you can see, open that file.
Oh, it is open in I think Visual Studio. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. You can yeah, it opening in the Visual Code Studio. Close this thing. Close the window.
Yeah, it's taking time.
Yeah, right click and open. Right click. Where is the dv.json file? You replace that file?
No, it is actually doing something else.
What you are doing, sir? Close this window, sir. Close this thing. Yeah, close all the channel. Okay, at the bottom you will say Visual Code Studio Code. Close that also. Right click and close. Okay, sir. We'll see at after the class. Okay, in inquiry session.
Okay.
Okay. So let me share my screen quickly. Guys, my screen is visible to you. Everyone can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So you can see I have used the get method. So in the interview, they will ask you, what did you use of get method? So using the get method, you can fetch any data. You can fetch the data. Okay. So I have used the employees. employees, right? And try to call. You can see it here. All the employees object which is created inside the employees get fetch. So my server get down. Why it's taking a lot of time? Let me cancel and let me recall. Okay, let me again start my server. It's taking a lot of time. So I will close this command prompt, open the new CMD, and will try to start my server again. Will try to start my server again. So copy this command prompt, open the command and hit that command here. What is the command? Oh man. Copy this command and paste it here. Start your server get started, and let me try to call. Yeah, you can see data get fetch. Okay, here you can see here guys, we have multiple JSON object. Can you see? Right. So guys, in the real time, we will if you want to check how many objects are there, so we have one application, JSON editor online, JSON online editor. So in the real time, I am using this application, JSON online editor. So type this thing and select the first option. Right, I will provide you this link to you so that you can easily open this application. Okay, so you can see it here right now. When I use the get method, we get the multiple object, right? I want to check how many objects are there. So copy this thing and paste it here in JSON editor. In JSON editor, when you click on tree, you can see it here. It is an array. Inside the array, we have the 4 objects, 1, 2, 3, and 4, with the different name. Rahul Test, the first one. The second one, Payal. Third one is Anjali. And fourth one is Mayank. Okay, whatever the data created inside the employees, all the data get fetched using the get method. Okay, now we are moving to create. So we will use the post method to create the data. And what is our base URL to create? This is your base URL. I will pass the base URL here. Go to the body and select the raw. I have selected the raw. Select the JSON. JSON means why I'm selecting the type as a JSON, because I have to ask the server the request I am sending to you. It is in the form of JSON. Let's suppose you are sending the request as a JSON and you are selecting the XML here, then server would not accept your request. Okay, both should be match, your request format and the format which you are selecting here. Okay, so I'm using JSON. Okay, and let me copy the object here. Copy the object, go to the body. Okay, I have copied the object, right? Let's try to understand what are the properties I have used. Okay, so guys, this is key and this is the value, which already clear. This is the key, this is the value, this is the key, this is the value. That means JSON object is a key value pair. Key value pair. Okay, you might have question, can we write only key? We don't write one value. No, you can't write like that. You have to always use key value in a pair. In a pair. This is the writing format of the JSON. right? When I separately discuss the JSON topic, at that time I will explain you in detail. Okay, so right now understand, this is the key and this is the value. Guys, you can mute. Okay,
Can you
so
come back on the JSON editor,
sorry.
please? Can you come back on the JSON editor?
Okay. Yes. This is your you have pasted the JSON object here, and you can see it here, all the things. Okay, what are, how many objects are using? If you go to the tree section, it will show you how many objects are using here. Okay, uh, this application we are using in multiple purpose. Okay, that I will explain you.
Okay.
So you can see it here. I'm using, sorry.
What is purpose of raw, selecting raw?
Here actually,
Yes.
if you are in the postman, if you are passing the body, then you have to pass the raw. After then you can pass the request body. Raw means request body actually. If you are passing let's suppose a binary, let's suppose you are uploading the data on the server, in that case you have to select binary. But right now we are passing the data in the form of request, in the form of JSON, right? Key value pair. So in that case we have to select the raw.
Understood, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are using key value pair. So you can see here I have used the multiple keys here, multiple keys and value. Let's try to understand. Okay, what are the keys? So first name of the employee, the prefix of the employee, whatever the prefix, we have to pass the value. If you are engineer, doctor, or Mr., Mrs., whatever the prefix you are using, you can use it. Your surname, your birth surname, your email ID, your gender, your type, you are the main client or you are the partner, something like that. Okay, so the type you have to pass, your date of birth, right? What is your date of birth? What is your marital status? You are married or non-married? Ever divorced or not? Right? So if you are divorced, then you are true. If it is not, then you will pass false, right? Divorce date, if you are passing here true, then you have to pass the values here. Okay, the smoker, are you smoking or not? Okay, if you are smoking, then you will pass the boolean value, that is true or false. The nationality, from which country you are, India, UK, Europe, right? So you can pass the nationality here. And the address, what is your address, right? The street, house number, the postal code, city, and the country, and what is your phone number and the ID. So let me remove the ID from here. Clear, guys? So this is the key value pair which for our project, for the employees. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm creating the new data. Let's suppose we can take any name. Let's suppose I'm taking Amita. So I'm creating one data with the Amita. Okay, I'm taking one data Amita. Okay, and the prefix as engineer, surname as a Singh, right? And birth surname as a something like you can pass, right? And let's suppose the email ID you can pass Amita at the Amita 123, right? And gender, you can pass the gender, right? So I have passed the gender, right? Type, client, and date of birth, you can pass it here. The marital status, married or non-married, right? Ever divorced, false, divorce date, null, right? So I will explain you guys, these all are the data type actually. The values which I am passing here, these all are the data type. So that is in the separate class. Okay, but right now only try to understand the method concept, what method is doing here. Okay, so I have passed all the details which I want to create for the Amita. Okay, so I'm clicking on the send. 400 bad request, something bad request here. Yeah, we are using unnecessary comma. I will explain you how you can write this thing, so do not worry. So you can see it here. I told you that whenever we have the successful response, then you will get the 2003 status code. Can you see it here? 2003, and it is 201 created. 201 created. That means your data is successfully get created, and you can see it here. The server will provide the unique ID to you, the ID number 5. This is provided by the server. Okay, now when you create the data, you want to verify the data. So in the get call, we have one more API, one more request. If you pass the ID, of that particular employee, you can able to fetch the data. Can you see it here? Amita 5. So you have passed the 5 here and you are able to fetch the data. Okay, let's suppose, sorry sir.
One question I want to ask. Yeah, in this, like we are accessing local database, so we not need to have this authorization key here.
No, we don't require. But I will explain you how the authorization stuff, the concept that I will explain you when I teach the authorization, authentication, and auth concept. At that time, I will take the separate application example. Okay, but in our local server, we don't have the security related stuff, the authorization stuff. Okay, without authorization, it will work. Okay. Yeah, so you can see it here. After passing the ID, you are able to fetch the data.
Vikas,
You are able to fetch. Yeah.
I'm trying to run this in the background. It is just, it's not showing me any error, but it's not fetching values also. It's just showing empty braces.
Okay, can you share your screen?
Yeah.
Guys, in API testing class, all the classes are very important. So I'm again repeating the same thing in the same class. Same thing. Yesterday, I have also explained you the get method, post method by taking the different example. Today, I'm explaining the same thing by taking the different example. Okay, so please try to concentrate in the class. Yes, ma'am, go ahead. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead. Okay, can you show me the db.json file? The screen is black. Hello.
Can you see?
No, I can't see.
I'll check at the end of the class. No worries.
Okay, fine. Let me share my screen quickly. So yeah, guys, where I was, so I was explaining the get method, right? So basically, get method is used to get the data, either all the data, either using the particular ID or using the query parameter. So how you can apply the query parameter? Let's suppose I want to, in the param section, go and pass whatever the query parameter you have. Let's suppose I want to filter out the data first name. I pass the first name and Amita. Okay, so I pass the Amita here. When I call, you can see it here, the Amita get filter out. And you can see when I added the query param, you can see the question mark key and the value. Same thing. Let's suppose this Amita is not exist. I am passing some invalid value. Can you see it here? I am passing some invalid. Now you can see it's showing me the blank data. It's showing me the blank data. Okay, so this is the single query param I have passed. If you want to pass the multiple query param, so you can pass. Let's suppose the email ID. So I have passed the email ID. Give me a second. Let me scroll down. Yeah, first name is there and email ID is Amita123. So I am past the this value. Okay, and let me call. You can see it here, data get fetch, and you can see it here using AND operator. It will get append the multiple query param. Okay, let's suppose I am creating one more data with the name Amita, and the email ID is 1234 and create. I have created the multiple data with the same name. Let's see what happened. Let's see what happened. Can you see it here? Amita, right? This is your first Amita and this is your second Amita. Guys, can you see the other matching data? No, because that in the database we have only two Amita, right? If you want to more, you know, in the you want to apply more filter, right? When you guys, you know, when you searching anything in the Flipkart or Myntra, let's suppose you are selecting the checkbox as a brand, you are selecting Adidas or, you know, Reebok, right? So you are selecting the price also, right? You are selecting the color also. So it gives you the result in more, you know, in the prescribed you know, result, customized result, right? It will give you the more customized result. Agree?
Yeah, yes.
So that is the way, that is the use of get method generally. So in you have the question that these things is depend on the requirement. If your company, if your client has implemented the query parameter in the get call, after then you can use the query param. If they has not implemented the query filtration in the get method, then you can't apply the query param. If you are trying to do, let's suppose query param you have applied with the value, and when you connect with the server, let's suppose it's showing error. It's showing the error, let's suppose. So you directly can't consider that thing as a bug. First, you have to confirm with your requirement, with your BA person, with your product owner, that this thing I'm trying to apply in, like you are applying the query param. So it is part of the requirement or not. If your product owner or your client is asking to you, yes, it is part of a requirement and you are getting bug, in that case it is a bug. If your client is asking that, no, it is not part of requirement, we have not implemented this feature, then we can't consider this thing as a bug. Clear? We will discuss more regarding this, but I have given you the high level. Okay, clear?
Could you
this thing?
explain? Could you explain again, like this point only?
Okay.
In what way this will be a bug?
Okay. Okay, so let's suppose in your project, they have not implemented the query param functionality. Using get method, you can't apply the query param. First name or email ID or birth surname, you can't apply the query param. This is not part of your requirement in your company by your client. Okay, but you are trying some scenario, exploring the things. Okay, so you apply the query param and you hit the API and you are getting error, right? So you thinking that you apply the right thing, but you are getting the error, right? So you can't directly log the bug for that. First you have to check your requirement. Is this correct requirement or not? You have tried yes, you have tried the correct thing, but it is implemented or not? It is part of your requirement or not? Okay, if it is part of your requirement, then it is a bug. If it is not part of your requirement, can I say a bug if it is not part of your requirement?
No. So in this case, like we can check what are these param by you checking the URL. Like in this case, I'm seeing first name is the only query param. So can we check by this URL only?
By this URL, yeah, using get method you can apply the query param, not in the post put patch.
Like in this, I'm seeing first name is only mentioned. So this is a mandatory field. So
No. It depends on the requirement. Let's suppose your requirement is asking, let's suppose they have implemented the get feature. They have implemented the get feature and they have implemented the query. You can you can filter out the data using the query param. Okay, but the client has mentioned in his requirement that using the first name or date of birth or email ID, you can apply the query param. That they will mention that which property you can use as a query param. Not all the property, guys, not all the property. It is part of your requirement. If you're, yes, you can see the multiple property as well. You can see it here, multiple property. So you can't apply any of the property in the query param. It depends on the requirement. In the requirement, they will mention that you can apply using the first name or birth surname or email ID or date of birth. It will be defined in your requirement. If you are trying to apply the, let's suppose gender is not defined and you are trying to filter out the result based on the gender, right, then you will get the error message. Clear, sir?
Yeah, clear. So in this case, like what you mentioned, one by one we will do the get method to check that the right data is correct or not.
Yes. Depends on whatever the things mentioned in the requirement, you have to check all the property.
Because OR method is not there, we can only check one by one.
No, one by one. OR method is not there. You have to use the AND operator. Using the query param, you can pass the key and value. Okay, guys, I am moving to the next part.
Yeah, because just one question here. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Hello.
Query param view is basically used for different variables. Suppose if the requirement says, okay, take the first name, last name, and email ID, different values. In that, we have to insert the query parameter variable here, right?
Yes, yes, right.
Irrespective of the request XML, what are the values are there in the request XML? If the requirement says take other values, then in that case we have to use query parameter, right?
Come again, sir.
Suppose the request XML first name is Amita, prefix or surname is Singh, etc., etc. The requirement says take the query parameter with different values. So in that case, we have to substitute the first name like XYZ, email address 123, something like that.
So if all the keys and value will get matched with that particular person, then you will fetch the data. If anyone is unmatched, then you can't access the data. You can't get the results, sir.
Okay. Then what is the advantage of use of this query parameter? Because
The
we are
query
using
parameter is just like the filtration. Like if you want to filter the data, let's suppose based on, if you want to check the first name of the user, then you can apply the first name. If you want to use the email ID, then if you want to filter out the data based on the email ID, then you can check all the person email ID. Let's suppose you know the email ID, but you also want to check the first name of the, so that only data will get displayed, whose both the things will get matched, other data will not get displayed. If you want to,
you
sorry,
mean to
come
say
again.
response XML only those data should be displayed, right?
Yeah, depends on the query parameter, the data should be displayed.
Okay.
Whatever the query, let's suppose you are passing some invalid value and you pass the valid value in the email and you are trying to connect, you will
Only
get the blank response
why
because
email,
both the
right?
condition is not matched. Sorry.
Yeah, I got it. Both the conditions should be matched based on the request XML. That value should be displayed in the response XML.
Exactly. That based on the query param, your data should be displayed. Okay. Okay.
Then
Now we are
because
moving to the, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, ma'am.
because we gave we'll give another this one, no, like for filtering like slash and then within the curly braces like dynamic value.
Sorry, come again.
Employees slash then within the curly braces like we'll give the user ID or the first name. That way filtering also can be done. You had shown in the other this one while fetching the
Okay,
data
yeah.
for other
Alternate,
request.
that
Yes.
alternative.
So yes, alternative. So you mean to say like in query parameter we can pass the multiple parameters, but in that way when we send only one single request can be sent that to fetch the record. Like after
I could
employees
not get your
slash,
information question, ma'am.
yes, I'll tell you. After
Okay.
employees slash
Uh-huh.
slash, then within
Slash.
the slash, then within the double curly braces will give like
Mhm.
user ID. You had shown one scenario in the earlier
Yeah,
example.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in this case, so this is also like filtering, but it's like dynamic value we are sending at a single
Like
value
5.
we can send. Yes, 5. Yes, yes. This is
Mhm.
what. So this is like only single value we can send at a time, right? While filtering for this kind of.
Single value. You are filtering that particular data. Well, you are
Okay.
decided. You need only let's suppose Rahul employee ID, not any other employee ID. But in the case of query param, you will get the multiple data also or single data also based on the query param you have
Okay.
applied.
So here
Okay.
not only the ID, we can send any value, right? Single value, but
No, it depends on the requirement.
requirement.
Generally,
Okay.
in the URL, they are using the unique ID. As per my experience, right? Generally, they will use the employee ID, any unique ID which is generated by the server.
Okay.
And
Okay. Thank
generally, 99% they are using the only ID here. I have worked on multiple projects, and in every project they are using the unique ID here, not any other property like first name and other things. Okay, they are
okay.
generally using the ID here. Okay. Okay, so I'm moving to the next part, that is the patch method. Okay, so I'm copying the URL from here and paste it here in the patch method. Guys, careful. So I'm selecting the raw and JSON. Now I have created the data, employee data, and also fetch the data using the different scenario, like all data using the particular ID, using the query parameter. You have fetch the data. Okay, now you want to update the created data. You want to update the created data. Let's suppose I'm copy the whole object and passing to here. Okay, and remove the ID. Remove the ID. Remove the ID. I have removed the ID. Okay, and here you are passing that particular ID. Let's suppose the ID is 5. ID is 5. So why I am passing ID here? So that particular data will get updated. Okay, let's suppose I have given the wrong postal code. Wrong postal code. Let's suppose I am trying to update 999 and my mobile number was wrong. Let's suppose the 888. Okay, you have passed the data. You have passed the data, postal code and phone number with updated data. Let's suppose you also your let's suppose prefix, something like that you have passed. Okay, and you are trying to call. You can see it here. I'm getting the successful response from the server. You are getting 200 series. And then you can see it here, whatever the data you have updated, the prefix, right? You have updated the prefix and postal code. You can see, right? Phone number, right? And you will get the same ID which you have updated. Okay, so when you use the get call, I have passed the ID here. Can you see the updated data here? Yeah, prefix and postal code and phone number. Can you see the updated data here? Right, guys?
Yes.
Okay, now second scenario. So right now I have passed the whole object. Whatever the object, whatever the keys I have used in the post method, right? I pass all the things, all the keys and value, and then I'm trying to update the data. Now you have the question that I want to update only phone number. So is that necessary to pass the other property? No, it does not require, right? So let me remove this thing. Clear? And if you want to update the phone number or any particular property you want to update, not only phone number, either email ID, either surname, last name, first name, whatever you want to update. So in the first scenario, I have passed whole object, and whatever the things I want to update, I have updated there. Okay, now in the second scenario, I have passed only single property, single key, right? And trying to update. Let's suppose I am trying to update this data. Okay, 555. This is your mobile number, phone number. Okay, and here you have to pass the what you have to pass, the unique ID, right? You have to ask your server that you have to pass your unique ID of that person, those who want to update. Okay, so you click on send and you can see it here. When you go and check, the status code is 200. That is, it is successfully get updated. And when you go down, can you see the mobile number get updated? Updated, right? So when you use the get call to verify the same, can you see the phone number get updated or not? Right? Yes. Can you see it's also affected the other data or not? It's affected the other data. Other data get deleted or anything, any changes, can you see except phone number?
No.
No. So you can update the data using single property. Let's suppose you along with the phone number, you want to update the other data as well. So what I am doing here, let's suppose you are trying to update the surname. Okay, so I will pass the surname, right? And let me test. I have added surname as a sing test. Okay, so let me call. So can you see it here? Surname get updated along with the phone number. And when you call to the get method, can you see it here? Surname get updated along with the phone number. Now let's suppose it depends on the ID which you are passing here. Let's suppose if you are not passing ID, or let's suppose you are passing some invalid ID, the ID which is not exist. Let's see the response. Can you see the successful status code here, the 20 series? No, right? You are getting 404 not found because this ID is not exist into your server.
Okay. Because in
into
this, like,
that particular resource.
yeah, like we're doing selective change for a particular parameter. Can we also get a single parameter? Like we are getting whole record. So can we also get selective parameter data?
Okay. Yes, you can. So you are asking that you want to filter out the selective data. You don't want the other data, right?
Yes, in get method.
Okay. Get method. So in that case, we have the new implementation, that is the GraphQL. Okay. So that is the latest implementation in the REST call. Here, if you can see here somewhere, GraphQL. Okay, the GraphQL is the new concept where you can filter out the data as you can, like you want only one or two data, then you can use the GraphQL. So that is not part of this course, but you ask me the question, I will explain you, but later on. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Okay, so you can see it here. Now you have one question in your mind. What data we were passing here? 5 or 6? 6? Let me check. 5.
Because if you're passing the invalid data, then we should get resource not found, right? When you're passing 8888.
Okay, let's suppose I'm passing invalid data. Yes.
In the response, we should get message like
Okay, let me clear one
response.
thing. Okay, I got your question. So the response is depend on the requirement. Again, in as this application, the local server application, they have implemented, you will get the blank response. In some of the project, in some of the company, they will ask something message like ID not found. In some of the company, in some of the requirement, you will get the message as a resource not found. So the resource message, the response message is totally depends on the requirement. Totally, it's very project to project, requirement to requirement. In some of the company, they will implement something like that, ID not found. In some of the company, they return the simple as a blank, nothing else. Simple, they will return the status code as a 404 not found, and nothing in the message, in the response message. In some of the company, they return something like a resource not found, yeah, ID not found, or wrong data you have found. So the message is depends on the requirement, because this thing is decided by the client, right? And every client is different. Agree? So that totally depends on the requirement, how they are implementing. So let's suppose guys, I'm using the flipkart.com. Let's suppose make my trip. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to search the flight. View price, book now. I'm going to no, I don't want the secure trip, and click on continue. So guys, tell me, if I'm not passing the key here, the key is first name and middle name, last name, male, right? If I'm not passing the key, I passed the last name as Issa and selected the male, okay, and pass the mobile number 796 something like that. I have passed. Email ID I have passed. Okay, email ID I have passed, right? And I'm trying to continue. So guys, tell me, is this message is same for every application? Or let's suppose I'm using any other application, let's suppose Goibo or Travelloop, right? Is this message it's same in every application, or they will use some other message, something which looks different?
Different message.
So agree? Same concept here. It depends on the requirement, how the clients wants the result, because this is the client application. They will decide how they can design the stuff, what response message they want. Okay, I'm not deciding here, the API not deciding this thing. Yeah, they have some protocol, they have to follow some protocol, that is correct, but the response matrices, the body which they have passed, it is not decided by the protocol, it is decided by the by the client. So let's suppose guys, here the first name and middle name, it is inside the one field. So who is deciding this thing?
Client
Deciding this thing. Is a developer itself implemented this thing, like in the single field they are passing first name and the middle name? No, developer not deciding this thing, even Scrum Master not deciding, even product owner is not deciding this thing. Is product owner decide this thing, or this thing is decided by according to the market? According to the market, the marketing person and the business analyst, your client is taking this decision. Agree? If your client is asking, then we have the separate field for the middle name. Can we merge in first name and middle name? Then when it comes to the tester, then tell me, it is a bug or functionality?
It's functionality of that trust.
No, I'm asking, the client want middle name as a separate field, but as a developer you merge both the things like that. Then it is a bug or functionality?
Bug.
It is a bug, because the clients want separate field for that, for the middle name. Like the first name is one field and middle name we have the separate box, right? Agree?
Yes.
Right. So similarly in the REST API in the backend also, whatever this property is not decided by me or you, this is decided by the client actually, based on the market. They have the research team who is deciding all the stuff. like based on the end user, what the end user can use. So they are deciding this thing, and the response message, this thing is not decided by me actually. So in your case, you will get some different response. When you use some other application, you will get some different response, right? Then you will ask me, sir, in your class you have teach me that you will get this response, but in my project I am getting this response. So why you teach me the wrong concept? So I am not teaching you the wrong concept. The concept behind that, this thing is depends on the requirement to requirement. Yeah, few of the things which we have to follow as a protocol, like the status code, this status code, if anything is not found there, then they have to return 404 not found. In the success we have to return 20 series. In the client error we have to return 40 series. In the server error we have to return 50 series. If you are using the JSON format, then you have to select the JSON here. If you are using the XML, then you have to pass the XML here. That thing is defined as a protocol which you have to follow. Okay, but the response body, request body, what response message you want to print, that thing is not decided by me actually and you actually. This is decided by the client. Clear, sir?
So Vikas, do we write test cases also for this API testing?
Yes, you can, like based on the requirement sheet, you can write the test case also.
So the format would be same, like how we are writing the manual
format
testing.
Exactly, format is same. Whatever the you are following in the manual testing, like serial number and the pre-request and the scenarios and the steps and the actual result, expected result, all the things will be same. I will show you one format that is very similar. That is exactly similar actually, but the things we have to pass the whole object, whole body there, instead of in the UI testing you are writing like click on the link, click on the checkbox, something like here you where in the REST API you have to pass the object here. Okay, that I will explain you, no worry. So using the patch method, you can update you guys. I will take another 10 minutes. Okay, because from 3 days I am surrounding around this topic only, and this is only surrounding around this topic. So you can see it here. You might have one question: is necessary to pass this ID here in the URL? No. No, you can also pass the ID here. So I am explaining you all the probability so that when you will work on the real time, if it is not looks like which I am explaining you, but you will get some other way. Okay, so that's why I'm explaining you all the probability which will happen in the real time. So let's suppose you have the question, can we have to pass this ID in the URL only? No. It depends on the requirement. Again, if your requirement is asking that the unique ID you have to pass in the URL, then you have to pass in the URL. If it is not, then they will pass that ID in the body. But they have to pass the unique ID either in the URL, either in the body. Both work is same. Both will do the same work. But I told you, this is their application. They will decide how they can implement, right? So if they are asking that they have to pass the application in the URL, then you can use in the URL, and they will ask if ID have to pass in the body, then you can pass in the body. Okay. So using patch method, you can update the data. Now I am coming to the put method, which is very, very important, and in the interview they will ask you what is the difference between put, patch and post. Okay, so I am copy this URL, the base URL, and pass it here. And what is the ID? ID is, let's suppose 5. I want to update the data. I have passed the ID here and the body. So select and go raw and select the JSON because I'm passing the JSON object into the server. So yeah, and remove the ID here. Let's suppose you want to update the data. You want to update the data using the put method. So let's suppose surname. I'm trying to update the surname and leave the name as a surname. Okay, and let's suppose email ID you are trying to update it. Okay, and I have passed all the object in which I have updated the surname and the email ID, and let me call. You can see it here, the surname, surname and the email ID get updated. And let me call to the get method. You can see in the get method surname, birth surname I have updated, I believe. Birth surname I have updated. Yeah, birth surname I have updated. Okay, so you can see it here, birth surname get updated and email ID get updated. Can you see it here?
But patch and put are doing the same thing.
Yeah, let me explain, sir. Let me explain. I will explain. Yeah, both are doing the same thing. Now the twist is here. Now, if you want to, yeah.
You copy the body initially by removing the ID, right?
Sorry, come again.
You are copying the body in the query section here, and you are removing the ID.
Yes, removing the ID. Yes.
You are in the URL. You are given 5.
Yes.
How it will be identified that?
Okay. So it will be identified by this URL. If we go to this particular employee, first it will go to this host URL, then it will check the resource, then inside the resource it will check the employee ID, whose employee ID is 5. Then it will find that particular object and update this data with the 5. Means it will update the 5 employee whose ID is 5. Simple.
Okay.
And let's suppose in your requirement, in your project, they are not passing the ID in the URL, they are using inside the ID. It's the same thing, but we change the position. But both are doing the same work here, ID and 5. But right now it will not work here because this thing is not implemented to support both the things. Okay, but in your project, if you are using the ID in the body, then you can pass the ID in the body. It's simple, either in the URL, either in the body, as per the requirement. You have to check your requirement where they are using. Okay, now I have updated the whole object, and inside the whole object I have changed the email and the birth surname. Now carefully look at here. So I want to update only one property. Let's suppose first name. I remove the other thing. And updating with this name as a API. Right? And let's see what happened. Not found. Oh, okay, you can see it here. When I'm not passing the ID here, so the server will not rectify where you want to update this data, right? Because you have not passed the ID here. So server could not identify where you want to update. So you have to pass the ID. ID is 5. And let me update. You will get the first name, Amita API, and let me call the. Can you see it here, guys? Only one property is there. And where the other property gone? Where is the other property?
I think it has filtered.
You have seen I have tried to update only first name for the ID 5, and it also you are getting the successful response. You can see 200, and when you try to verify, you are getting only first name. Where the other property? We have the multiple property, right? Surname, email ID, phone number, and the address. We have multiple property, but you can see
Has
only one
replaced.
Sorry, ma'am, come again.
I think for that ID, it has replaced the complete data with this name alone.
Exactly. So if you are passing any property here, any property, and you are trying to use for this particular ID, right? It will, the data which you are passing here, it override, it replace the existing data with the new data. Whole data is replaced with this data. With this data. Okay, let's suppose now here I am using let's suppose email ID. Let's suppose email ID. Okay, now I am using first name and the email ID. Let's see what happened. First name and the email ID, you can see in the response. And when I use get call, you can see it here. The previous first name get override with the new data, first name and the email ID. First name and the email ID. It overriding the data, it replacing the whole object with the new object. And you have the question that in the first case, in the very first case, it was all the keys and value, all the values was there. But at that time, the same concept, it is replacing, but I have passed all the body, all the keys and value in the body. That's why it's showing all the keys and value in the get. Okay, guys. So the put method is used whenever you want to replace the data. Whenever you want to replace the data with a new property, and it will replace the whole object. It will replace the whole object. Let's suppose you might have question. Let's suppose I'm creating one new data, that is Vikas. My ID is Vikas 123, and change the mail, okay, and send. So new data I have created. Right? Now you have the query that you want to insert one property. Insert one property along with the old data. Let's suppose you have the new property. That property name is PAN number. Okay, PAN number. Let me pass the valid PAN number. You want to insert the new property. The property name is PAN. So guys, tell me, if I hit this API, what happened? 7. Let me pass the 7. If I hit this request, then what happened?
Only PAN and ID will be displayed. Updated.
It will override the data with the existing data. What is the 7? Okay, let's check. It will override the whole object and replace with the PAN. Right? Now you don't want to replace the existing data and you want to add the new property. You want to add the new property along with the existing data. Now how you can update?
Patch.
Yes, we have the patch method. Using the patch method, you can do it. It will not replace the things. I agree. But in the put method, how you can do that? Using the put method.
I think we need to send again all the properties, whatever is there. Along with that, this property needs to be sent.
Exactly. If you want to retain all the property, then you have to pass all the property along with the PAN. Along with the PAN. So copy this PAN number and pass it here. And now let me hit this API. Something error message. Where is the error message? Okay, the formatting issue. And again error message. Something we are doing wrong. Remove. Okay, now try to call. Can you see it here? The PAN number along with the other property. And when you use the get method, you can see PAN is also there and the existing data is also there. Right?
Yes. One question in this.
Yeah.
When we use put method, it overrides everything that we and ID remains like if we are passing date of birth and we are using put method, then it will overwrite all the data and date of birth only remains along with ID. So why ID it is not overriding?
So ID is unique, sir.
Okay.
Bank of
ID
India.
will remain.
You want, yeah, ID will be the same. This is the logic. If you override the ID, then totally the things will get changed, right? If you are creating any object, right, in that case, new data, new ID will get generated. But you are trying to do the action in the same existing data. So it will not override the ID. If you override the ID, then that particular user is not exist, right? So that user, that means that user is deleted. Let's suppose you went to the State Bank of India, your ID is 123, right? After updating your data, can your ID will get changed? No, until unless if you are not creating the new account. Right. So we are not replacing or updating the ID. The ID will be same. The unique ID will be same.
Because I just have one question here. For example, we are creating one user, okay, with the post method. That is, for example, we have created with the ID 7. And after that, if we want to delete one particular key with that value alone.
No, that is not possible. No. In REST API, that is not possible. Let's suppose we have first name and prefix and all the things. If you want to remove date of birth, marital status, right, and you want to remove this thing from the schema, that you can't do it, right? If you want to remove this thing, in that case, you can use the put method and do not pass the like suppose ever Davos or Davos, so that will get removed.
We shouldn't pass that key and value alone, right, in that put request body, and we can pass the rest, so that alone will not come.
That yes. So, but that is not permanently deleted by JSON schema. It is not deleted from the JSON schema. Yes, that data will get deleted for this user. Not that data is not exist anymore for this user. Actually, that is correct. Using the put method, you can.
Thank you.
Any other question? So clear concept. Using the put and post. Using the using the patch method, you can update the data. Using the put method, you can update the data also, and you can replace the data. Now your interview asks you how. Yeah, I can understand the replacing. Let's suppose you pass any new property, it will replace the whole object with the existing object. But how you can update the data with the existing data you want to also exist? In that case, you have to ask to him that you have to also pass that particular property which you want to retain. Okay, after then you can also update the data. Clear?
Yes, Vikash.
No, Vikas.
So that is the difference between put and patch. Yes, sir, go ahead.
What is the last part you said? That retain the data.
I told that using the patch method, you can update the data, not replace the data. And in the case of put method, you can update the data and you can replace the data. Now, if you are explaining the put, then you have to also explain this thing with an example. So in an example, you can say, let's suppose you have created one employee. Inside the employee, you have passed the first name, last name, email ID, and phone number. And let's suppose you are adding one new property. Let's suppose updated name, something like any new property. Using the put method, if you pass that property, only that property, then it will override the whole existing data. And you can say also like that, if you want to retain the existing data using the put method, in that case you have to pass the existing data along with the new data.
Got
Clear?
it. Thank you.
Okay, so that is the difference between put and patch. Put and patch. Now, in some of the company, post method is also used to update the data. Post method, but rarely. I know this concept because this concept was used in my earlier organization. So I know this concept. Most of the people don't know this concept, that using the post method, can we update the data, or it is only for to create the data, right? So yes, using post method, you can also update the data. You can
But
also
why would you do
update
that when
the
you
data.
already have two other methods like this? Why would you use?
Let me explain you. So whenever the requirement is coming, so every company, every project, they are not implementing all the method. They are implementing, they depends on the requirement. They want to implement all the method, then they will implement all the method like get, post, put, and patch. Individually they have implemented, but they think that if you want to update the data using the patch method, we don't need the put method. They will not implement. They will not implement the put method. So some of the company, in some of the project, they are not implementing the put method in his project, because they know we don't have to replace the data with new data. They will only update the data, and for that we have already a call. We have already a method, that is patch method. We can use the patch method for that. So they are not implementing the put method. So it depends on the requirement. If the requirement, in the requirement, they want to use the put, patch, and post all the things, then they can use. If they don't want to use patch and put, they only use post, get, and delete to create. They use post method to create, and they use update method using post. So in my one organization, they have not used the put method, and if to update the data, they are using post method only, not even patch and put. So
Sir, I have a
it
question.
depends on the requirement. It depends on the requirement, but I have
Will
explained
it
you
not
all
give
the
error
probability.
because will it not give an error because already the data is there and we
Sorry.
are posting the same ID? Will it not give an
Sorry,
error?
come again, madam.
Will it not give an error?
Yes, if you try to use, let's suppose in your project they have not implemented the put method and they are trying to use, let's suppose you are the tester, you are trying to test, you have used the put method and you are trying to call. Okay, so you will get the error here 415 unsupported media type. You will get the error here unsupported media type 415. Okay, that I will explain you in the error class. What are the error we have? Okay, so you can see it will display the 415 unsupported media type. Oh, sorry, my bad. Method not allowed. Method not allowed. Because that method is not implemented by your project. Okay, yes, it is the correct scenario you are applying, but that method is not implemented in your project. If it is not implemented in your project, can you use that functionality? No.
Because in that case, using post, can we able to replace the data also? Only update or
Yes, you
only
can
update?
replace. Create or replace. You can replace your data also. Okay.
And update also, right? Using
Yeah,
post.
but that thing is not possible. You pass the replace means this value get replaced. Surname, this value will get replaced. Let's suppose you are not passing the whole thing, okay, and you are passing the ID here. So it will not, first name will not replace the whole data. The remaining data will be also there, but it will replace the value only. Value.
Like it updates. Okay.
Yeah, like the update. It will not replace the whole object. It only update the particular key value. Okay.
I have one question. We previously updated a PAN number with something
Yes,
random. Okay. So when we use the front-end application with when we fetch data with the help of front-end application, there are multiple validations like server-side validation as well as the client-side validation. So if there is any way to check if API has some kind of validation, or we can implement some kind of validation on the APIs also? Is there is anything like that, or we can update any data or any sort of data with the help of API?
Okay, so whatever the action you will do in the front end, let's suppose this is your make my trip. If you are doing any data related action like first name, SA, whatever the data related action, all the data related action we can perform in the API side, in the REST API, except the graphical designing stuff, designing and the graph and the report, like the color of this car and how it looks like, and the make my trip color and the logo, that thing we can't do in the API, except all the things data related information which is related to the data, which is related to the data scenario, all the action which you are doing in the front end, all the scenario we can test in the backend, all the validation we can do in the backend. If anything, let's suppose you are trying to search the flight. If you are trying to search the flight, if it is not working here, if you are clicking on this search and you are getting any error, same error you will also get in the backend. It will not work on the backend side also. If anything is not working in the backend, let's suppose you are trying to search the flight and we have the separate request for that to search the flight, right? If that request is not working in the backend in the REST API, I'm 110% sure that when you will do the same scenario in the front end side, that scenario will not work. That's why nowadays backend testing is very easy and very popular in the market. Because every work we can do, which we can perform in the UI, except the designing like color and the home icons, then the logo. Did you get my answer, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now you have the question, the who is testing the front end and the back end. So it depends on to company. Some of the company, they have the common team. Generally 95% they have the separate team for the front end and the back end. In some of company, they have one common and same person, they are doing the front end and the back end, they are handling both the things. So they know this thing very well. I know this thing very well because in one of my project I handle both the thing at a time. I was handling the front end testing also and back end testing also. That's why I know both the things are correlated. If anything is not working in the back end, 110% I'm sure that thing will also not work in the front end. Okay, so okay, so today we have discussed all the method which we are using in the real time: post, get, put, and patch, and the delete. Delete, I think it's clear already. Yesterday I have already discussed. Okay, so this is the method which we are using in the real time. Okay, so in tomorrow class I will discuss the what is the JSON and what is the JSON and the types of the JSON, right, and the requirement. This requirement we will discuss. Okay. Okay, guys.
So
Thank you.
if we are doing API testing, it is only backend testing